Today we're going to be making one of my favorite desserts for fall. It's called a pumpkin pie dump cake, and we're going to put some cream cheese filling on it as well. And it's not to be mistaken with an actual cake. It's going to be more like a pumpkin pie with a crunchy topping. But it is called a dump cake because you literally dump everything in the pan and then you bake it. So we have our oven set at 350. We have a 13 by 9 pan that I've already sprayed with cooking oil or cooking spray, or we could use butter. So first we're going to start off with our cream cheese filling, which we have 8 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese. And then we have 3/4 cup of powdered sugar and 2 teaspoons of milk. And I've let the cream cheese sit out for an hour just so it could be soft and ready to mix. So we're just gonna throw everything in there and whisk it up. I'm using a hand mixer just because it's faster and easier that way. And so we have our cream cheese, powdered sugar, and like I said, our 2 teaspoons of milk. And we're just gonna blend all those together. Alright, so now that we've whipped up our cream cheese filling, I have my Ziploc bag and I have it rimmed over a cup just so it's easier for me to fill it. And then we're just going to set this off to the side. We'll use this once we get our pumpkin pie filling finished. Alright, now for the filling, we have a 29-ounce can of pure pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling. And we have a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. We have 4 eggs. A teaspoon of vanilla is also in here with the eggs. 1 1/4 cup of sugar. And then we have a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. That's my little shortcut instead of using all the different things that you would normally put into a pumpkin pie. So we're just going to put all these ingredients together and blend them up to make the filling. Spatula is your best friend in the kitchen. Helps you get all that extra. Alright, so we have this. We have our eggs and vanilla. We have our salt and pumpkin pie spice, sugar. And then I usually like to blend this up first and then add in the milk just so it doesn't splash all over the place. I'm using my hand mixer again, but you can use a whisk for this part if you like, but again, this is just quicker. Alright, so this is what it looks like all mixed up. And you just use your spatula just to make sure that everything is blended together. So then we're just going to pour this right into our pre-greased pan. And again, using that spatula just to scrape all the extra. And then we're going to take our cream cheese filling that we had, and I'm just going to cut just a little bit, just a little tip of it off of the bag. And then we're just going to pipe this over. So this came out a little bit bigger chunks of the cream cheese than I had planned. So I probably should have cut that hole a little bit smaller on that bag. That way I could have got more thin lines and got it a little even across. But either way, it'll still taste good. So now we're going to take our box of French vanilla cake, or you can use spice cake. Walmart was all out of spice cake, so I had to settle for vanilla. And we're just going to take and evenly sprinkle this on top. Now you can also do half of the mix in with your pumpkin pie and half on top, but I like to do all of it on top. You want to try to get it as even as possible, but again, it doesn't have to be pretty. And then we're gonna take the bottom of a spoon, just a regular spoon, and we're gonna poke holes all the way across. Now we're not gonna go all the way to the bottom of the pan. We're just going till we get to the pumpkin pie part. All right. And then we have a half a cup of butter, which is 1 stick of butter. And I'm actually gonna pour that into a measuring cup just so that I can pour it evenly over this dump cake. And then we're just going to evenly pour it across the whole cake. Try to get it in those holes as much as possible. I've also seen this done where you just slice your butter into very thin pieces and then you can just lay them across, but I've never done it that way, so I'm just gonna stick to what I know. So to know when it's done, you can stick a knife in it rather than a toothpick, and if the knife comes out clean, then you know it's good. But also a good indicator would be that the crust topping is brown. But if you stick a toothpick in it, it might not work as well, just because this is gonna be more like a pumpkin pie texture on the bottom. So we're gonna stick this in the 350 oven for about an hour, and then we'll check on it. Okay, so it's actually been about an hour and 10 minutes. And as you can see, topping is nice and brown. I stuck a knife in it and it came out clean. So it's good to go. Now we're just gonna let it sit for another hour. You could eat it right out of the oven, but then it'll be more like pudding than like a cake-like substance. So I like to let it cool down, and then we're gonna top it with some whipped cream. Alright, so we let this sit as long as possible, but the family's getting anxious, so I went ahead and cut out a chunk, and as you can see, I have it squared off so everybody can grab a portion. And I went ahead and whipped up some homemade whipped cream to top it off with. And if you'd like to know how to make whipped cream homemade, check out the video above. So once we've made this recipe, if you tried it at home, leave a comment below, let me know how it turned out. Thanks for watching.